Katie, just go ahead and start.
All right. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Welcome to Travel on the Rocks. I'm Katie,
I'm Alicia.
I'm Lee.
and today we are here to bring you another batch of traveling misadventures, food and drink, and a whole lot of fun. So I think today we were talking about some resort at Disney World. I think we're going to cover the value and moderate resorts today.
Correct.
And then we might get into like some of our favorite movies, maybe. And I don't know, probably going to skip a drinking game today because
For sure.
I think we're all just a little.
Well, not all of us.
Well,
So
I did bring a beverage, but it's not like a drinking game beverage. So,
it's okay.
Lisa, or I called you Lisa, Alicia.
It could have been both ways. I'm like, Lisa?
It could have.
Like,
That was a combo of our names.
So, what are you drinking today, Alicia?
Okay, I'm going to show you guys because I went to Bevmo. I don't know if y'all have Bevmo where y'all are. I'm not sure.
Is it like a Specs or like a Total Wine type thing?
I think it's like a Specs. It's definitely like a Total Wine. It's been a long time since I've been to Specs, but it is like a Total Wine, but a little bit of a smaller scale. But I was looking for a particular type of whiskey, and then I'm a Pinot girl for wine, so I went down the Pinot aisle. And I'm in California, so I live in wine country, and so I'm particular about Pinots, but this one just caught my eye because I was like, oh, it's a pretty bottle and it says Queen's Peak and this is super cute. But then I looked at the price and I did one of these, like, does that say what I think it is? $5.99 for this lovely bottle. So I said, well, that's worth trying for a little, whenever you need to come home and just have a glass of wine. It doesn't need to be one of those fancy expensive bottles because I don't like doing that for just every day of the week or whatever. So I tried it and it's actually really good. So cheers to Queen's Peak $5.99 bottle of Pinot.
So it's not the 1945 barrel, whatever. It's 2023.
It probably is 2020, but it's actually really good, and it's been aerating a little bit, so it's even better. But I was pleasantly surprised. I'm like, this is even better than my apothic that I go to for my normal day-to-day kind of thing.
Oh, that's funny. I go for apothic usually too.
They have I like their Inferno one because it's been in whiskey barrels. Yeah, that
one's good.
I have a feeling we might have to take some in Florida. Like I might have to bring a bottle for us since we're sharing a room.
Yeah, that's a good idea. When we were traveling across the country, we had this program called Harvest Host, and we were able to stay at wineries, breweries, distilleries, farms. So like you paid $50 or $60, however much it was, to be a member of this program, and then you could call up the winery ahead of time and say, hey, I need a place to stay and park my RV, and they'd let you stay on property. And a lot of times the wineries had like epic views, and then you get a bottle of wine.
Oh my gosh.
And then some of the places, like some of the farms were like goat farms. I think there was like a llama farm on there. We didn't get to stay at the llama farm,
farm?
I know. There were so many cool ones. But so when we were going from Georgia to California, we stayed at a bunch of wineries.
So fun.
Instead of campgrounds. And I had like a whole, like I was set on wine because Chris doesn't drink wine. So I was like completely set on wine.
I'm like waiting in anticipation of what she's going to say.
I am too, because I'm just like, she's the one that never freezes. So I'm like, what's going on? Oh my
Katie,
gosh.
come back to us.
No kidding. But anyway, I'll do a joke while she's waiting. Oh no, she's back. We're back. But
There
let
you
me tell you my joke. What do you call a bunch of llamas?
What?
A pack of alpacas. That was
Oh
just a
my
total
gosh.
dad joke. I'm sorry.
It's really funny. Oh,
Oh
okay.
my
I'm
gosh.
really excited about this. Is how Katie, how you froze was, and I didn't get a
Oh.
picture of it, so I didn't even hear what you had
Yeah.
a whole
So
whatever of.
yeah, we know you have campground. We know you were ready to do something, and then that's when you froze. What were you ready to
And
do?
you said I have a whole thing. I think you're about to talk about different varieties of wine, is what I'm
Oh,
guessing.
yeah, so that's weird because I could hear you guys and everything.
It's
So
even more weird because you never freeze, just like Lee
I know.
said, you never freeze.
So I have a whole or back then when we were doing that, traveling across the country, I had like a whole stash of wine. Chris doesn't drink wine at all, so it was cool because we stopped at all these different wineries and I would grab a bottle of wine. We would stay there like 1 or 2 nights and then go to the next place. And like I just had like 12 bottles of wine that I kept. And it was kind of cool because it was
So
like a
cool.
souvenir, but also
Yeah,
consumable. So
that's so cool because you can keep the bottles, and that's like, like you said, a souvenir of this is where we stayed or we, saw this amazing view or whatever. So
Mhm.
you're right. I'm gonna have to write down what that was. Host of something is all I got. So
Harvest Toast. If it's
harvest
mainly for
host.
campers or people who
Okay,
are like traveling, like if you were traveling across country in a van or an RV, you
gotcha.
would want to use
Oh,
it.
so cool. Okay.
I mean, I guess you could stay in a car too,
Yeah.
but
I don't want to sleep in a car. Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll have to wait until I get an RV if that ever happens. So
and Lee, you are having what today?
I am not drinking today because I feel like I drank enough the last 3 episodes to last me the next 2 episodes. But I am cleansing. I'm getting ready for our trip coming up in a few weeks. And so I
yay.
figured I need to calm down a little bit. So that way, 1 or 2 cocktails in Disney will satisfy me.
Yay.
That's an awesome plan. I love it.
Yes,
Well,
y'all
and
do not need me going Frank the Tank when we're at Disney. We're
yeah.
not doing that.
And two, so we did try to do this same podcast a couple of days ago and had some technical issues. And you did have a nice glass of wine slash bottle of wine that we talked about in the last episode that you might see bloopers of because it just didn't work out so well. But that also explains why it's kind of dark because we all are off work and it's late and we're trying to make sure we get this podcast in for everybody. So
Yeah, we kind of have a natural buzz going on right now, like Buzz going to
Yeah.
sleep.
yes. Ooh, so let's talk resorts then while we're on our buzz.
Well, can I share mine
Yes.
really quick?
Oh, yes, Katie, I'm
Oh,
sorry.
yes,
Yes, of
go, go.
course.
Because it's not something that I would typically drink, but Chris's mom left a bottle of I'm gonna totally forget the name of it now. What is the stuff that you put in coffee called? Kahlua.
Kahlua,
That's what
yeah.
it is.
Mhm.
Okay, so I
Ooh.
never drink Kahlua, but she left a bunch of Starbucks hot chocolate mix and Kahlua, and I was like, let me make some hot chocolate
Ooh.
tonight, and I just put like a dash of Kahlua in because I'm not like a
Mm.
big Kahlua person, and just like that dash was enough to give it just a little something.
Oh, that sounds tasty because
I'm
I like
glad y'all said
Kahlua.
that because I was going straight whiskey. I was just like, you put whiskey on it.
Yeah.
Well, it's hot chocolate. So, I mean,
Oh, okay. See, this is why I told you I'm
I know
stopping
hot
for today.
chocolate yeah.
But she did ask, what do you put in coffee? And so it makes sense if you want to put a
Yeah,
little Jameson in there. That makes sense.
Yeah,
that
at
does make
Disney,
sense.
don't grab my coffee cup. Just saying.
Okay.
But yeah,
Oh,
definitely
so
not like
funny.
a drink I would play a drinking game with. It's like a
Yeah.
sipper and
Yeah.
I didn't make a large one because I'm not like a big hot chocolate person either. Like it's
Yeah.
just a small amount. So
Well, it's probably good that we're not doing a drinking game because this isn't like a drinking game kind of thing either, but it's tasty. So
Yeah,
cheers.
and cheers,
cheers.
guys. And we can definitely
Yay.
segue into cheaper resorts, more fun to play. So I think we're going to talk about the value resorts because those are my favorite because I am a enthusiast of the food and the drink. So the cheaper that I can stay at Disney, the more I get to actually entice in all those things. So um, I'm going to quiz Alicia real quick. Alicia, what are our three main value resorts?
Okay, so if you're going three main, it's the All Stars movies, All Stars sports, and All Stars music. I had to think about the music one.
I know, so she's going to get that wrong. Uh, Katie, here we go. Why are they the main three, in your opinion?
Um, I didn't know you were gonna do this, so I don't like. You're really catching me off
I
guard
just
right
completely took over
now.
this whole little thing. But no, but I just wanted to
Because
kind of
they're
just
sheer
say the
all
reason I think they're
stars.
the main. Yeah, they're all stars. That's why.
Because I don't consider them the main at all.
I just think of them
No,
as the main because they all have all stars in the name of them. So it's just the
yeah,
three that have the all stars.
they're the
That's
three that like all together too. That's the thing. Like they're all like
yeah.
right next to each other.
Oh, okay. Because I thought so. I thought yeah. I'm having like a brain fart right now. You totally took me into like a weird direction.
That's too
You're
funny. Well,
quizzing. You're quizzing.
yeah, you weren't ready to. I'm trying to get you ready for your little speechy thing. What if something pops out a question? I'm just like, hey,
I
hey,
know.
ready? You gotta be quick on your toes. But
Those aren't the only value resorts, though.
they're not the only. But I do think if you say value resort, 9 times out of 10, people are gonna go all stars.
See, not in my experience. That's interesting. Like
Okay, cool.
I rarely book any all stars. I pretty much only book Pop Century or Art of Animation.
So there's 5 in total.
Huh. Yeah. Yes. Pop.
Or would you
Pop.
count the campground as a
All.
value
Art.
one?
You technically don't count that one as a value one, but it's got value pricing.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not like classified as Disney's value resorts, but it
Yeah,
is a not. Yeah. It's not classified Disney value resorts, but yeah,
Yeah,
I've never stayed at the campgrounds, but I have looked at quoting prices for the campground, and they are value prices. So, and
yeah.
they look really cool too, by the way. I mean, I like to camp, but I've never thought, oh, I'm going to go to Disney and go camping. So I've never done that myself, and maybe in the next couple of years I'll try to do that.
I
But
think I think it needs to
it's
get done
really
pretty
cool.
soon because the older we get, I'm not gonna be sleeping on the ground. I tell you that
I
much.
did. But you're not sleeping on
you
the
can take
ground.
your RV there, or you could do the cabins. The cabins are not super
Yeah.
expensive either.
Yeah, the cabins are what I looked at because the cabins, they actually, you're not sleeping on the ground, and the cabins are super cute, and they do have beds and bedrooms and kitchens and stuff. It's really cute, but it is very different experience than going to the properties. So, I mean, it has
But
its own cute
yeah,
flair to it.
Fort Wilderness, though, is not considered a value resort, so we'll have to save that
No,
conversation.
not at
And I
all.
have a lot. I have a lot to say about Fort Wilderness, so I am excited about that
Ooh, ooh, I
one.
can't wait till we talk about that one. Then that's gonna be great. Okay, so then Lee, if you are a value resort and you've said reason why, what's your favorite value resort?
So my favorite all-star resort is probably sports. And I don't know if that's just because I have kiddos, I have boys, specifically, and they're all into sports and everything, but to me, it is the first stop on like the bus stops. So it's one of those things where if you're staying at All-Star Sports, and let's just say from the airport you're taking an Uber to All-Stars the resort areas, it is the first stop you do, so your Uber driver doesn't have to take you anywhere. Same thing if you're shuttling with Mears or anything else. It's really quick access. And then at the same time, when you shuttle back and forth to the theme parks or to Disney Springs or anything, it is the first stop. And usually, because more people tend to stay at All Star Sports, those buses fill up really fast. Um, I rather stay at All Star Sports because then I don't want to have to be waiting for another bus or vice versa. If I'm like
Yeah.
at, I think the last one is movies because music is right next to the sports. I think so. Those are kind of like the top reasons. Is if I'm getting back and forth to the parks, I want to be the first one in line.
No, that's good. That's a good reason. So I've had an experience with All Star Sports that I don't choose. I don't really choose. So I know you said you like like you want a food and drink and stuff. I am a little bit more of I want a nice bed and place to spread out and lay my head down whenever I'm done with the parks. So I'm not as much of a foodie, and we've talked about that too. But so I like more of the moderate stuff. So we'll talk about that here soon. But I did get an experience with All Star Sports when my nieces were in a cheer competition. And I have two nieces, and then my brother has a son. So it was four. No, it was five people in this room together, and it was just really, really packed. And a lot of cheer stuff all over the bathroom, and there was a lot of cheer squads out in the like the football quad area. There was a lot happening, and like when I'm done with the park and all the things that I'm doing, I need to have my little like quiet downtime. There was no quiet downtime happening at the sports. So it is not one of my favorites, but only because of my experience. So but I totally get if you have littles, though. If you've got little kiddos, my kid's not that little, so I don't usually go for the all stars.
Yeah, they're definitely known to
Katie, go
be
ahead.
they're definitely known to be like a little bit noisier than the other value resorts. And then they have like some they do not have some of the amenities like fitness centers and things like that. So I've actually never used a fitness center at any of the Disney resorts. So for somebody like me, that wouldn't really matter.
Yeah,
But I know there are people who, they pick a resort because it has a gym or a jacuzzi or water
yeah,
slides or something like that. And like the All Stars are good basic resorts that are like, if you've never been to Disney before, I'm trying to think like of another hotel chain that would be similar to them, and I'm thinking like Holiday Inn probably, or
Yeah,
like a
I
nice
would go
Best
into their Holiday
Western or
Inns. Yeah,
something. Yeah,
yeah, for
like a
sure, Holiday
nice
Inn, because
Holiday
even the
Inn or a
bed
nice Best
yeah,
setups.
Western.
Yeah, the bed setups are very much. I think most rooms are gonna have like that Murphy bed setup, where when you book a room with us, it'll say one full and then one table bed. But the table bed, what it is just it folds down to a Murphy. And so kind of backing what Alicia said, if to me, if you have four people, meaning two adults, two kids, it's like the perfect thing. And
Mhm.
kids, mine are closer to like the 8 and 9 range, and then my youngest is closer to like the 4 and 5 range. Perfect. I'm kind of like Alicia too. I love the moderate resorts, but for me, since I am spending a little bit more money when it comes to tickets and food and everything,
yeah,
that's kind of why
yeah,
we just stick to All Star, because we want to get there because we know we can resort hop. But
yeah,
for families of 5 and 6, I would just pay extra and maybe go stay at Art Animation and get some of
yeah,
those family suites because you're all gonna have that
yeah,
room.
Yeah,
yeah,
the suites when we did the fam last year, we got to do some of the room tours, and the suites at Art of Animation are super cute. And
gosh,
I haven't stayed at Art of Animation. I've only like eaten there and done the room tours. But I've definitely booked it a lot, and that's one of the top ones that people want to book because of the pool and because of being on the Skyliner too.
yeah,
Skyliner.
Um,
Quick question, Katie. Do
yes.
they have the full tubs as well, or is it just the shower?
I think they do have the full
I thought they
tub.
had the full tubs too. I mean, I can.
Okay,
You
cool.
gotta stop asking these questions
Well, I
that
was
we
just
can
making sure
book
because I
them.
think I am gonna go ahead and say this as fact. I do believe all the value resorts have that because most of the families are staying in them, and that's kind of like that big separation between value and moderate. When you get into your moderate and your deluxe, certain rooms, you're
Yeah,
gonna get away from that like that bathtub style. I know if you have a little kid, you might want to actually consider doing the bathtub, um, if it's easier to
yeah.
take them a bath and stuff.
Well, that's smart. And I'm looking through our pictures now of our fam. So I'm almost certain it was a bathtub as well. I'm just trying to find through our pictures.
Yeah, because I know
Um,
like when you get into like the modern deluxe, like let's say like the Riviera, if you get into those suites, they're usually gonna have like a half bath and a full bath in the room, so you're gonna get the stand up shower area and a tub. Um,
yeah,
but I do think like that's what kind of separates the value resorts because I know my little one. if he stands in the shower, we're gonna be in the hospital in the next 5 minutes after that. So it's just one of those things where like I need him sitting down and so I can take him a shower.
Yeah.
But other than that,
Well,
like let me see.
So,
Oh,
see, it has a bathtub because look, it's the
yeah,
Finding Nemo room. Yeah.
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 And most of
So
the
cute.
rooms in at the moderate resorts, they have tubs too.
Mhm.
Yeah, unless you get fancy at the Coronado and you stay in the tower.
So
Ooh.
it looks like some of the renovated king size rooms at Pop Century have a walk-in shower, but not a bathtub, which that's interesting too because that's a value resort as well.
Yeah.
I would
But
never.
again,
That's
it's
something that
also
I
on the
wouldn't think
Skyliner.
of too.
And Katie, you've stayed at the Pop Century. So do you want to
Yeah.
talk a little bit about the Pop Century?
So I actually enjoyed my stay at the Pop Century. I was in the 90s area, which is kind of toward the back. If you look at the map, it's like and actually the room that I was in was more on the parking lot facing side too, which ended up being fine because I don't think very many people stayed in the 90s area, or at least when I stayed there weren't very many people. So it was really
Yeah.
quiet. I also noticed there were a lot of adults in that area. So I don't know if
We were
they
probably
like
a
kind
little
of
nostalgic is probably what was happening.
yeah, they're like, oh, this person born in 86, they would love to stay in the 90s.
Yes.
I wonder if they ever do things like that. That would be very
So
personalized
funny.
rooming experience.
That would be so fun. I'm sorry.
But
I
I
totally interrupted you.
actually
I'm sorry.
no, you're good. I loved staying there because they have these gigantic sculptures and theming like of there was a floppy disk and Roger the
So
Rabbit
fun.
and I think there was like something across the resort rooms that said like whatever or something about the internet like I'll have to look at my picture again but just straight up 90s. It was awesome. And then it was like I think from that side of the resort, it was about a 6 or 7 minute walk to the Skyliner. So that was nice too.
That is
If you
cool.
get in one of the other areas, you're a lot closer to the Skyliner.
That's cool. It'd been really cool if like some of the, the little music you maybe hear walking down the hall was like the dial-up tones that you used to have to hear on AOL. Give you a little flashback.
That would be
It's so crazy
hilarious.
because if a lot of
Or
people don't know, I know
you've
Katie
got
and Alicia
mail.
know this, but like so I DJ. That's my other little thing, right? And I went to this gig where there was a song that I was playing, and I didn't realize it was like an old downloaded one. I always transfer my files from computer to computer. And y'all remember LimeWire?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I
Okay,
remember
well,
LimeWire.
I thought I was about to play this song, and then LimeWire used to have like these things where like if you download the wrong one, it would say like this is LimeWire, like it'd have this little spill, and it was
Yeah.
like a techno thing I was doing, and it was a complete accident, but it was like this is LimeWire, and it had like the AOL little sound effects, and people thought it was like a techno drop, and they went crazy, and I was like, man, I should have recorded that, and I didn't realize how many people were like they like remember like the
Oh,
static beep, boop, beep, boop,
yeah.
shh.
You used to hear that, and then you'd hear "You've got mail" or LimeWire. That's so funny. So that'd be really cool if like walking through Pop, and I would like to stay at Pop the next time I go, just because I did grow up in the 90s and I love it. So I'd like to go back and kind of relive a little bit of that, especially Roger Rabbit. Man, Roger Rabbit was my jam back in the
I know.
days. So I would love to take a picture with a big old statue of Roger Rabbit. So
But it's cool because they have like other areas, other theming depending on the
yeah.
era. So like they have like a big bowling pin and some other things. So
I
depending on
I
just
like
feel
just
what
like
think that's
section of
so
the resort
cute.
you're
when they
in.
do like the 60s and 70s, it's too generic. Like they just do like the poodle skirting or they just do like
Yeah.
grease lightning. Like 90s is cool because they can actually like do like a Walkman and like
Yeah.
that's just something that's iconic. Like it doesn't even have to
Yeah.
Yeah.
be a thing. So that's kind of cool.
I would be curious if Disney actually did an overhaul in the next few years because, the 50s and 60s are something that I can, not that I grew up in the 60s or 50s, but my parents, like they had that influence, so I understand that. But, as we get older, like my kid, she's like, "Oh my God, Mom, did you like walk around with dinosaurs in the 90s?" And she's like, "I cannot believe you're in a whole other century." I mean, she's ridiculous. But but the kids nowadays are like 90s might be the starting point and move forward. I don't know. But then the 80s are coming back too. So who knows? Who knows?
Well, here's the
So
thing, like, since we all grew up in different areas in like 2000, like early
yeah,
2000. Katie, where were you?
where was I in 2000?
Yeah, like 2000 to 2010. Where were you during that decade?
I was in Florida.
And then Alicia, where were you?
So I was in college and I graduated in the early 2000s, so the early part of the decade, but I had my kid middle of the decade and I was already in the Air Force. By the end, I was pretty established in my career, like in the start of my career or whatever
Okay, but
at
like
the end.
what part of the country were you? Like where were you at?
Okay. Okay, so in the beginning part, I started in Georgia, and then the middle was in Nebraska, and at the end, I was in Texas.
Okay, so y'all were pretty much in the South. So y'all kind of know like
Yeah.
2000s in the South was crazy because I do remember like still rocking like even though this was a 90s thing, I was still wearing Jinkos in the 2000s and then like
Yes.
the oversized t-shirts. So I would love if Disney did like the visor caps and the headbands
Oh.
and Jinkos. Just like a big old starched pair of Jinkos. That would be amazing. Or the little ball necklaces. Everybody had the little ball necklaces.
That would be awesome. Okay, let's get back to resorts. Here we go.
Well, do you guys
Um,
want to hear something interesting? I don't know if you
of
know
course.
this or not,
Oh man,
but
please tell me you wore Jinkos.
I was a skater kid though, so
She's just a skater girl. She's like,
I
okay.
was just about to sing Avril Lavigne.
so okay. So you guys know Pop Century because Alicia, you made me think of this when you were talking about like the different decades that Pop Century has and if they were going to retheme it. But they were supposed to have like a whole section called the legendary years. And it was actually numbered, and like it actually had 0, 0, 10, 20, 30, 40
Oh,
on it,
cool.
and it's supposed to be the 1900s to the 1940s.
Oh,
um
that would be so cool. I didn't know this. This is amazing. See,
but
trivia
it
brought to
ended
you by
up
Katie tonight.
not happening, and it became part of, if I'm correct, I'm pretty sure it became part of art of animation. And like if you look at the art of animation buildings, there's some of them that look newer and some that look older, and the older one is that legendary section.
Oh, I love that.
And so some people were like, oh, they should like totally redo it to be like the early 2000s. But then it became art of animation, and art of
Yeah.
animation is so cool. So it was just kind of like one of those little Disney trivia things that I always found interesting because they
So
were
cool.
going to have more decades at that resort, and it just didn't happen.
Yeah.
Man, that would have been so cool.
That would have been very cool. And I love that we have trivia. This is what we should do for one of our podcasts is like a Disney trivia or whatever we're talking about, because we do more than just Disney, but that would be fun to do a trivia because I did not know that. And I love research and history and all the things. So that's really interesting, which is why I like the art of animation. Actually, that's my favorite value resort, and I love it because like when you walk in, first of all, the lobby in itself is just so beautiful. I mean, it is so beautiful. And then it has all the drawings and it has the different things of all the movies that well, at least that I grew up as a kid watching. And so you see that, and then the check-in desk is just gorgeous. The property itself is gorgeous. It's beautifully themed. I love it. And then, of course, the family suites. That's a nice little bonus plus, too. So
Yep,
it's
and I
my
think
favorite.
they have don't quote me on this, but I do think they have the biggest um not cafeteria. What would you call the dining area?
It is like a
Yeah,
cafeteria.
I would
Okay,
call it a
yeah. So
cafeteria.
they do have like the biggest out of all the value resorts, and I think it's just
Yeah.
because it's the most popular. But um,
Yeah.
they even have the swim up bar right there at the like behind the pool, the little
Yes.
Nemo thing. That's
Yes.
that's
Yeah,
where you'll
weren't
find
you
me.
telling who was it you, Alicia, that were you telling me about a drink that you got there? What was the drink?
Well, so I didn't have a drink, but I did see somebody order a drink from there, and it was really cool because it was like a layered different colors, and I don't know if it was from based on a movie. I'm sure it was, um, because they do have the different themed, movies or whatever. I don't know which one it was probably, but I'm thinking because I remember it was like a green layered, so it might have been from The Lion King. Um, I just don't know exactly what drink it was, but it looked amazing, and we were on our tour, so I was like, "Okay, I can't stop and order me one."
Oh, the
But
other part of that resort, though, talking about theming, the cars area is
It's
yes,
phenomenal.
amazing.
it
They
is
did
amazing.
they did such a good job with that. Like,
Yeah.
And
In
and
fact,
that's the
I'm gonna
crazy
pull up
part when
another
people
picture.
don't like now that we're talking about the resorts, for anybody who's listening and they're brand new to Disney World specifically, you can I like the music. That was kind of cool back in my
Sorry, I don't
Netflix
oh,
thing.
that
okay.
was my phone. I don't know what that was, to be honest. Sorry about that.
I was like, cool, I
It's
have
trying
theme music going on.
it's trying
Um
to be all TikTok. I don't know what is happening.
oh, it's China. They're hacking you now. Anyway, um but yeah, so if you've never been to a Disney property or you've never stayed on Disney Resort, you are more than welcome, even if you're not staying on Disney property,
Right.
to go through the resorts. I mean,
Yep.
and the crazy part is like the cars, my kids enjoy going over there to take photos every time we go. And it's like they have these life size actual Lightning
Yes.
McQueens and like all these other things, and you feel like you're in Radiator Springs. And I'm like, what the heck? I'm in the middle of Florida. Like,
Yes.
why does it feel like I'm in yes, the cozy cone? Um, it is freaking awesome. So this is why we're trying to break down these little resorts here and there because
Yes.
you are more than free to go walk around these places because believe me, I do believe you
Yep.
can spend an entire day going through all the
You could.
resorts and feel the Disney
Absolutely.
magic. It is crazy.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm trying to
That
find a
was
picture. I think I
actually
think
when I started being a travel advisor. I went to Disney and explored the resorts because even though I lived in Florida and lived like really close to Disney when I was younger, we never stayed at the resorts. We would always just, drive to the parks because we lived like 10 minutes away. So why would we ever stay at the resort? So I actually didn't start staying at the resorts until I was in my 20s, and so like for me it was kind of nice going and taking trips there to just explore the resorts and get to know
Yeah,
those and try the food and try the pools because all of them have like different activities that you can do
they
too. They
do.
do like campfire activities and movies under the stars and all of that. And I think like art of animation sometimes has drawing activities that you can do, which is super fun. I'm horrible at drawing, so I probably will never participate in one of
Yeah.
those, but
As long
Like
as you
this
can
was
color
one of
in the
our
lines, you'll be
pictures.
fine.
Like
aw.
they have
Yes,
Doc right
all of
there.
them.
I know, I love it. And I was hoping to find one of the pool, but I don't see one in this little folder that I have,
Or
but
even like near the
it's
pool where they
just so
have the
fun.
Nemo stuff, you can see the seagulls, and I think they voice
Yes.
activated to go like mine, mine,
Oh,
mine.
that was the best part. That's another reason why I love art of animation because even in some of the theming, some of the theming for the value resorts, it's not Disney themed. Like you've got your All Stars music, so it's music themed. You've got your All Star sports themed. And then oh my gosh, I always forget movies. And then you have your
Movies.
movies, which is Disney themed. So there is the movies that are Disney themed. But then for animation, goodness, it's been a long day. You've got Finding Nemo, you've got The Lion King, you've got Cars, and it is so fun because you feel like you're stepping on the movie set. It is amazing. I love it.
It's like
Yeah,
the
and
classic Disney theming that you would want in a hotel too, and it's
Yes.
not a crazy expensive price.
Yes.
yeah, and then
Yes.
like I said, for the kiddos, I would say, um, probably 13 and under. If you have kids in that range that kind of still remember some of the older Pixar movies and the newer
Hmm.
ones, I do think All Stars is a perfect way to start. And so that being said, y'all want to move over to moderate?
Yeah,
Yeah.
let's talk about moderate.
Did um sorry, never mind.
I will say, because I plugged a lot for the art of animation. Let me just throw this in there. The suites are only the Nemo, the Cars, and the Lion King, whereas they do have another section of the Little Mermaid that is your standard room too. So you can have a Little Mermaid type theme if you want.
And I believe Art of Animation, I think maybe Pop, they're the only ones that offer suites because I don't think All Stars has any suites. They have preferred rooms, but they don't have any
Yeah,
suites. So
no.
keep that in mind whenever y'all are traveling, and you want to maybe stick with the value. There's only a few that have like the bigger rooms. Other than that, it's going to be kind of like a
Yeah,
standard Holiday Inn type setup.
yeah,
So going over to the moderate, I like these if I'm going by myself. I'm just saying right now. Like if I'm not taking
yeah.
my kids, it's an adult trip. I'm getting a little bougie. All right. And I'm going to a moderate. And my favorite is Coronado Springs.
That's my favorite too.
Really interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know if I have a favorite yet because I do like Coronado, but it's been a really long time since I've stayed there. I stayed there on my first marriage. We like took a vacation down to Florida and I stayed there back, I don't know, that's like 12, 13 years ago now probably. So I don't really remember Coronado besides like doing the walkthroughs that I've done of it. And I know they've like revamped the rooms too since I've been there. So
Yeah. Lee, why is it your favorite, Lee?
Let me put my mic
Oh,
back on. Here we
or is it
go.
frozen? There we go.
Yeah, no, you're good. Coronado is probably my favorite because I do believe it is probably the only moderate resort that really feels like a deluxe resort. It's very open because I know they have the convention center
mm,
part of it too, so they're gonna have a lot of conferences and stuff like that. The
Yep.
three bridges, that kind of connect the villas from the tower to the other places, it almost really does give you that almost big um Gaylord type of resort feel. Like just like when I think of resort, I do
Yeah.
think of this massive hotel area, and all Disney resorts are huge, but the Coronado is just massive, and so they have more restaurants, they have more bars, they have more theming when it comes like to the Spanish like style theming that they have there. They just like they hit all that
Mm-hmm.
on the nail. Like it no, I think one of the deluxe has it too, but they have two gyms there, and it's because it is very popular
Mm-hmm.
because people run
Yep.
on the trail. That's another one. They have trails. So I'm like, it's an all stop shop for anybody who's like very active. The only downfall is the only way of transportation is a bus. That's it.
Yeah. That's true.
It's the only downfall.
That's true.
so I think, and I remember that kind of bothering me a little bit there when we last stayed there, but I was also used to staying at like other places like the Caribbean and Port Orleans. So those like you can get Port Orleans, you can get transportation with the boats, and then
Oh
Caribbean
yeah.
Beach, you can do the Skyliner. So
Okay,
Yeah.
hang on,
So the
guys.
okay. Okay.
I wonder if I should change it because now you said Port Orleans, I forgot about the beignets, and now I'm like, I had a rum-filled
I
beignet the last time I was there, and I'm like, this might put Coronado like out of business.
so I stayed at this past year. I stayed at both Port Orleans resorts. I stayed at
French Quarters.
Riverside with yeah, I stayed at Riverside with my cousin and her 6-year-old daughter, and we stayed in the royal rooms. And she absolutely went crazy for those rooms. She
Okay.
loved the backlit headboards,
Okay.
and like the theming
Oh.
inside the royal rooms was really nice. Like they don't just have princess theming in there; they have prince theming too, which was kind of cute.
Oh, that is
So
cute.
it appeals to both, boys and girls. But she absolutely, like, we didn't tell her we were taking her to Disney, and we got to Disney, and then we didn't tell her what was inside the room. She opened up that door and she like started crying.
Oh,
It was like
that's
the
so
most precious thing.
sweet.
So like the royal rooms for kids, if you can swing that, they're bougie, but they're so magical.
That is so, so sweet.
And then I stayed at French Quarter, and it was an adult trip. And I was like, I don't know. I think I want to stay at French Quarter for like all my adult trips going forward, because it's such a quaint little resort. Then you have the jazz lounge there, and the beignets are amazing. Like, the beignets are so good.
I was like, I've never taken insulin in my life, but I'm pretty sure I need them right now.
Oh, that's so
and
funny.
and it's cool because like even like okay, so like they're pretty famous for their beignets, right? But they've gotten really cool where they do like seasonal beignets. So when I went, it was for Halloween. So they had like the haunted mansion style beignets. So they did like the
Oh,
colors and stuff.
yes, that's when I
Ooh.
went
Oh,
too.
it was
Yeah, and I had the Haunted
amazing.
Mansion. Oh, they were so good. It was like
Oh,
this, Alicia. It was like this Oreo crumb with the
It's
beignets.
it's
It was
Oreo
so good.
powder. So what you know
oh.
how they have like the powdered sugar? They crush it so fine it's like a powder sugar Oreo, and then they put that over the top, and it's
Okay,
amazing.
let's do that, please. Let's do
Yes,
that while we're there, please. Thank you.
and I would
Um,
say the moderate resorts. I've seen more characters in the moderate resorts than any other freaking resort. Like it's so crazy. I always run into
have
somebody.
you?
Yes.
Huh. So I've never seen characters at the moderate resorts
Yeah, me
before.
either.
I will say, like, one of the benefits of the Caribbean beach resort is you can walk over to Riviera and go. They have like the character breakfast at the Riviera, which is super fun.
Yeah.
Topolinos.
Yes.
Oh, I love
And
Topolinos.
I you know how each of the resorts, I don't think we talked about this yet, but like each of the resorts has a smell when you walk into it.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And it's
So
totally sponsored by Bassett.
By what?
Wait, did I say it
by
wrong?
what?
Bassett? Isn't that like the little place where you wash your hands at Disney Springs?
I have no idea what you're talking about right
I don't
now.
either, but I feel like
Bassett
that may
or
be what we have to
Bassett.
look at.
It's where they have the bath bombs.
I don't
Okay,
know.
literally Disney
I can't
Springs,
wait for us to go and
World of Disney, and then right across from World of Disney is the best place in the world. It's they called Bassett.
okay.
Bath and
I
Body
can't wait for
Works?
us to do
No, no,
this.
no. It's like Bath and Body Works, but it's called Bassett. They even have it in the Grand Floridian.
Oh, I can't wait for us to do this. I don't know
Katie's looking
Bassett
it up
either,
right now
Katie,
because I want to
so
make sure I'm pronouncing correct. It should be
I think
Basset.
okay, because I know the story you're talking about. I don't think I ever realized it had a name because I've been inside of it in Grand Floridian.
Yeah, that's where their
Um,
smells come from. Like Bassett creates actual
oh
individual smells
my
for the
gosh.
resorts, and it's from Bassett because I have bath bombs that smell like the Riviera.
That's so cool. So I feel like we are bringing a little bit of trivia tonight. You know, like Lee, you just brought something that none of us knew. Katie already brought something that I didn't know, at least. I can't speak for you, Lee, on that one, but like, this is pretty cool. We're all learning something new. This is great. I love it. I'm so excited.
Yeah, it's
I
like
I
it's
have to look that up because it's saying that Scent Air is the brand.
no, that's a lie. I'm gonna put it out there right
It's
now because
it's on
Bassett
Plan.
literally
It's on
smells
Plan
like every
Disney.
resort.
Okay, no. Okay, let me back up really quick because each resort does smell differently,
Yes,
right?
I agree with you.
Yes.
Like you walk into Caribbean Beach. My whole
Yep.
point was like you walk into Caribbean Beach, it freaking smells like a Caribbean beach tropical freaking paradise in there.
Mm-hmm.
And you walk into Polynesian, and that's got its distinct smell. And you walk into Grand Floridian, that has its distinct smell. Wilderness Lodge has like a woodsy scent to it,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
All
that,
Stars
like,
has like a old sneaker smell.
for me, I love the smell of Caribbean beach, and that like stays with me all the time. That's probably one of my favorite smelling resorts is
Aw,
Caribbean beach. But
that's cool.
as far as the brand, on the Disney site, it says Scent Air, but I don't know.
Disney's
That might be
lying.
like the diffusers.
They're
That might be the
Disney's
diffusers
lying. They're lying
in
to
the
me.
room.
Same thing with the soap. They got rid of the H2O soap, and I was freaking mad. That was the best smelling soap I've ever had.
Aw, they had it when I was there in November, so I don't know when they got rid of
I
it, but
hope
they
it's
had
still
it when
there
I
because
was
I'm
there.
bringing like a little container, and I'm gonna just squirt all the little stuff into my little
Okay.
bottles, like bring it home.
Oh, that's good.
I gotta look
Okay.
up the name of that store though.
Okay.
No,
Well, while you
While you're
do
doing
that,
past it. We're going.
let's
We're going.
bring back to well, let's bring back the Caribbean beach because one of the things that so Caribbean beach I have stayed at and I actually really enjoyed Caribbean beach because I like beaches. I'm just a beach girl. So I like the fact that they have beautiful hammocks, beautiful beaches that you can actually go and sit outside and enjoy like a Florida sunset on a beach. But they have been doing a lot of remodeling. And
Mhm.
so they're not like are still sticking with the Caribbean vibe, and each, there's sections named after some different islands like Aruba, um, Trinidad, Tobago, and so they are revamping it, but they are also adding a lot of the fifth sleeper, which is another option. So it's not like family suite, like where you have that extra room and space, but it is a sleeper that folds down, and it is the cutest thing. It's almost my daughter always said, "Mom, it's kind of like a little, like your own little." Bed, little cocoon type thing, but it's super comfortable for kids. Like she's too big for it now, but it's super comfortable for kids. Like that's their own little space and their own little snapshot of Disney, I guess, you know what I mean? Because it has like a character involvement on the background of the I want to say headboard, but it's not a headboard because it folds down. So it's I don't know. My daughter always loved it because she got to like have a character kind of facing her, and it was like her own little space. And so it was anyway. I just think that's a great option as well.
Yeah, I like I stayed at the pirate rooms, when those were in
Yes.
Trinidad, and those have been rethemed. But one of the things that always surprised me, everybody always said those were really far away from the Skyliner, and I felt like they were really close to the Skyliner.
Mm,
Like
Yeah, it's really
like
not
super
that
close.
bad. I think just people when they look at
yeah.
like proximity, they want to take like 5 steps and they're there.
Yeah. Well, when they've walked, 20 miles in the park all day, then you think, okay, I just need 3 steps to get to my bedroom. Thank you. But so you bring up a good point though, Katie, because Caribbean Beach is actually a very large resort.
Mhm.
And so there are different sections, and there's different dining options for each section. So when you talk to us as a travel advisor, like let's talk about the different areas because not that we can assign you rooms, but just so you have that expectation of, hey, you might be in another, I'm going to say country because they are little island countries that might be farther away from the Skyliner or the main dining area, that kind of thing. So. Anyway,
All
that's my
right,
little
Lee.
plug on Caribbean.
The name of the shop in the Grand Floridian, which is reportedly closed as of this year.
Wait, what? I was just there like 2 months ago.
Aw.
Basin White.
Basin. I don't know why I said Bassett. Basin. Yeah.
Basin.
Basin.
Aw.
They closed it in the Grand
Um,
Floridian.
Sad for
Well,
you.
Grand Floridian's
it
getting
says
rid of
it's
a lot of stuff because they don't
reportedly
even have the
closed.
bibbity bobbity boutique thing there no more, and I'm really mad.
Well, we'll have to save that for whenever we do the deluxe.
Yeah.
Yeah, reasons why I don't like the deluxe. Paying all this money and I don't get my bibbity bobbity basin. This is horrible. But so let's see.
So
We
we did
covered
Caribbean Beach,
Caribbean Beach.
Coronado Springs. We
I,
kind of
I
talked
do want to
about
bring up
the resorts.
Coronado. I'm
Okay, go
sorry,
ahead.
Katie. I'm
Go
sorry. I
ahead.
do want to kind of plug because everybody brought a little bit of trivia, so I want to bring a little trivia. So Disney. So this is a Spanish theme. The Coronado, back to that, is a Spanish themed resort. So it's very beautiful, but it's also got influence by Salvador Dali, the artist, because Disney met Salvador Dali in the 1940s, mid 40s, and they ended up creating a short. I think it's called Destino because that's what the Grand Destino Towers. Um, but there is, so you talked about Riviera, which is in the deluxe podcast that we'll do later. But the Coronado has the Dahlia restaurant, Dahlia Lounge at the very top. And then they also have, what's the name of the other lounge? I totally just went blank. That you can see fireworks from the restaurant. And I literally just made a reservation for one of my clients just this past weekend. So I'm going to look it up real fast. But you can see fireworks from the towers and from this restaurant, and it's amazing. It's so beautiful. So Lee, you were spot on that it is like a deluxe resort, but at a moderate price.
Yes.
Toledo.
Toledo's, thank you. Yes,
Toledo's.
Toledo's. Yes.
Eh,
Dahlia Lounge was really cool. I liked the vibe there.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
So beautiful. And I've had food in the two restaurants. So I've had food in like the main little courtyard slash cafeteria type area, which is really good. There's different options. But I also had food at the restaurant. Boy, I'm really doing good with names tonight. But we have a reservation for Rick's Sports Bar and Grill as well for breakfast. So
that
once I hit that, that will
place.
be all the different restaurants. I'm so excited.
Rick's is amazing. I
Gosh.
think that really reminds me of that show Cheers, where like everybody knows your
Yeah.
name. Because literally, like the
Yes.
bartenders, they're so freaking nice. The wait staff is amazing at Rick's, and like after a long day, if you just want to go in there and just talk to the bartender and hang out, like it is perfect.
Yes. Oh, I'm super excited. What was it called? Oh, Maya Grill. That's what it was. I had the best dessert, and I went straight up full dinner mode, like three course. I had an appetizer, I had a before dinner drink, I had the main course, I had a dessert. It was amazing. And then they had live music, and I love a Spanish guitar. And this gentleman, and by the way, I didn't have reservations, so I just walked on in. Not saying that that can happen all the time, but it was amazing. But I basically had this gentleman who was serenading me at dinner, which was just super amazing. And I was by myself. I'm like, this is such a romantic and wonderful environment. And here I am sitting by myself. Yeah. But they
Oh,
also have like movies on the lawn. They have big chessboards, big a beautiful pool. The pool is amazing, and they call it the dig site. So they have like this almost like an Aztec type style for the Aztec type period style water slide, and it's just a fun area for kids. And like you already talked about the fitness center. I just love it. It's my favorite. So I don't know.
And the
There's that.
coffee there
well,
is amazing.
so you know what's funny about that? That is like one of the things I remember about staying there like 13 years ago was the
Yeah,
coffee.
the coffee is
I got a
amazing.
Hilarious.
chocolate filled croissant and a latte. And I remember back then thinking, wow, this is some awesome coffee.
When you know what's funny too is like so I mean a bazillion years ago when my college roommate we did her bachelorette party at Disney and we stayed at Coronado, and this was before the towers, and everything, and so it was like I don't know, we at least we never went anywhere towards the towers. The overhaul and how beautiful the resorts and the rooms are, it's phenomenal. They're roomy. They've got pools at different parts of the because it too is a big resort, so they've got different pools for each of the building areas, and
It's
it's so
it's
good. I can't wait to
it's
go
so
back.
crazy. I don't think I could ever imagine that place without the tower. Because like literally when you go check in and you see
Yeah,
this massive chandelier like going down to the bottom bar, and then you're checking,
yeah,
it's like I could not imagine it like without the tower now. It's so crazy.
I'm I'm gonna look when they built it because I honestly don't remember it when we checked in for her bachelorette party, and we were not drinking
I
at the
don't
time. So,
remember. I don't remember it either. I'm trying to like recall what it was like checking in, and I just like remember the lady's face that was checking me in, and not the actual building.
yeah. Let's see if it says when they built that
Yeah, because that's
because
like the
I don't remember the tower.
yeah, I don't know.
But Lord, it's gorgeous.
Whenever I was invited and they were like, "Hey, we're staying at the tower," I was just like, "I don't care how much it is. Like, let's go." I was just super excited to be like staying in the tower. And then the elevators. The elevators in the tower. There's no buttons. Did y'all know that?
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah, so like
I don't know if
okay,
I
so on
knew
the
that or
inside
not.
of the
Yeah.
elevator on the tower, if you've never been, there's no button. So you scan your app or your My Disney Experience or your Magic Band,
Oh.
and it knows what room it is, and it takes you to that floor. So that's how you do the elevators.
Oh. How
No, that's cool.
cool. So I just looked it up. The tower was built and opened in 2019. So it was definitely before the tower. I remember not checking into the tower because I remember when we checked it was still a beautiful resort, but when I went for our fam, I stayed at the Coronados. I was like, you know what, I want to give it another whirl. I remember it just being incredibly different, and it was beautiful then when we went, but it was more of that moderate feel, for and it was 4 girls to a room, so it was spacious enough, but still like you're kind of on top of each other because it's girls. Obviously, we have a lot of crap. But the way that they redid these rooms, it is so spacious. I can't
It's a
even.
massive
And then
room.
yeah. And then on top of that, the tower, if you're lucky to get a tower room, the view is
If you
phenomenal.
get a
Phenomenal.
water view, I swear you are at this Cancun style looking thing. It is the best thing in the
Yes.
world because I think depending on when you go, we went
Yes.
during summer and the sun wasn't like directly into the room, but it was just enough light to kind of like, oh, I'm like, it's
Yep.
time to wake up. It's time to do this. And
Yep.
the rooms, I think these are the first rooms that Disney started doing the lifted beds. So you definitely have room underneath the
Hmm.
bed to put your luggage and everything. So
Yep.
like you do not have to worry about suitcases being everywhere. The restrooms were really cool. They had the slide divider between the loo and the rest of the thing. So
Yes.
depending on you want privacy.
Yes.
So that was really cool. It just I don't know. I just feel like you're staying at a contemporary style resort without having to pay that money. So it's really nice.
Yeah, I agree. And I have not stayed, so I'm going to switch again. I'm sorry. I have not stayed at Port Orleans Riverside, but when we visited, that was a very beautiful resort as well. So, Katie, I don't know if, did you say that was your favorite? Is that what you said? Or
French
is
So
Caribbean
Quarters.
still your favorite?
I'm stuck in between French Quarter and Fort Wilderness, and which we have not talked about yet at
Yes.
all. And Fort Wilderness, like the cabins and campsites, they are considered moderate. Um, and I absolutely love
Oh
those.
wow. I'm just
But
learning
I
that right
know
now. I
that
didn't know that
is
was
like a
moderate.
very, yeah.
Yeah, I think let's transition to the Fort Wilderness because
There's a
because you're rightly, it doesn't.
there's a lot of new
Yeah, go
stuff going
ahead.
there too. Like are they the ones that got the revamped cabins?
So the cabins are, some of the cabins are turning into DVC
Yep.
Okay, so
cabins.
that's what it is. Okay.
Yep.
Um, so which that means that there's still going to be some available to book through like Disney's site and everything, but there's a portion of them that will always be DVC. But my favorite thing about Fort Wilderness is during the holidays, the entire campground goes all out for Halloween and Christmas, like nothing you've ever seen before.
Oh,
Like think of
fun.
your block party from like the 80s and 90s where like everybody would get together and people would put out like potluck dinners and stuff. It's like that. Like
So
when we went
fun.
in Halloween, everybody brought all of their Halloween decorations from home. Every single campsite had the
So
huge So you could go trick-or-treating, and they had adult trick-or-treating too. So like you go to campsite next to you and there would be jello shots and like pork scratchings and like
I am never going
adult
to Mickey's
food.
Not So Scary anymore. I'm just going right over
I'm
there.
telling you,
It
like
was right in Fort Wilderness.
if you want a proper Halloween experience at Disney, like get one of the cabins if you don't like staying in a tent or an RV, or rent an RV and stay in one of the campsites, and make sure you stay like close enough. Like some people get down there and stay for 3 weeks or 2 weeks and they just set up for those 2 weeks. And then there's like families that have been going for every single year and they put on shows. So there was this
Yeah.
family that they always dress up as like the Haunted Mansion characters and they put on performances.
Oh my
So I know. So, like, I feel like this is the Fort Wilderness is this completely underrated resort because it appeals to a certain demographic, obviously,
Yeah.
like people who like camping or staying in cabins. But they have like all these really cool activities going on
So
that
fun.
the people staying at the resorts are bringing there, not like the cast members. Like you have the
Yeah.
standard regular Disney activities,
Yeah.
but
The
it's like this
Chippendale
whole
sing
cult.
along.
Oh,
Yeah.
and the Hoop-Dee-Doo review. Oh my God. I love that.
Yeah, did you
I
do that on our
absolutely
fam? Because
love that.
that's the one they went the night that I was flying in, so I wasn't able to go to that. Did you do that one?
I
Because
didn't do it on the fam, but back in April when I went with my cousin
okay,
and her kid, we did
you're
that.
able to do it.
And I will say, like, that's one of the ones you have to pay ahead of time for.
Yeah.
And the amount of food that you get is insane. It's like
Yeah.
just family style, refillable, like you eat as
That's
much as you
cool.
want.
And what's cool about that, so it's good that we talk about that because that's one of those that if you don't book that early, you may not get it. And as much as people are like, "Oh, it's at the campsite, whatever." That Hoop-Dee-Doo review is a huge sellout. So if you're thinking about staying at Disney, you want to try it, let's look at booking that on the like at your top like must do's because it is very, very difficult to get in if you don't get that 60-day window for the bookings.
And it includes like a certain type of beer and wine with your meal
Oh,
too.
that's cool.
That
That's
is
really cool.
really cool.
It includes like alcohol up to a certain tier, I think. And then the other thing with the campground is you can rent golf carts. Those also go really fast. So if you don't like rent your golf cart ahead of time and it's busy season during Christmas or Halloween,
Yeah, you're not gonna get that.
there's some third party
You're gonna be
people that you can
walking.
rent golf carts from, but that place is huge and you likely do want a golf cart there because it is so big. And to get from the bus areas, like a lot of times it's quicker to take the golf cart to the main bus area than it is to wait for the bus to circle around the entire
Yeah.
campus.
Plus, I
But
believe I don't know if you know this, Katie. You the only way you can rent a golf cart, you have to be there. Like you have to be staying there, correct?
yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
So
You can do other things there. So they have the Tri Circle D Ranch, which is so cool. And I highly recommend that to like you don't even have to be staying at Fort Wilderness to experience that. You can go in and do like the pony ride or the horse ride if you're an adult, and you can go and like pet the horses. And they have like this magical carriage that's in there, like the original. I'm gonna forget the name of it. I'm gonna have to look it up. But like the really fancy carriage that has like the music. Like
like the Cinderella carriage?
oh yeah, let me look it up. It is like
Okay.
I
Oh.
forget what they call it. But it's like a little museum, an open air museum
Oh,
almost.
so
So,
cute.
and a lot of people don't realize that's there. Um,
that
but
is
you're gonna
fishing. You can go
blow your
fishing.
mind when you see this carriage.
You gotta go fishing
Yeah.
there, guys.
So
Go
it's funny
fishing.
that you yeah. So it's funny that you bring that up, Lee and Katie, while you're looking that up. There is a lot of extracurricular activities that you can do at the Fort Wilderness because so you go strong at the parks all day. Yep, got it. But and some families are like, I need a break because it is like you have to plan. I mean, my family tells me all the time, we ain't keeping up with you, so you need to slow down or we're gonna leave you. One of the two. So a lot of families and a lot of my clients are like, we need to plan a day where it's just we're going to hang out at the pool, we're going to hang out at the resort or whatever. Fort Wilderness has all these extra things. They've got the Triple D Ranch, they've got archery, they've got this museum. It's really cool that they have all these extra things that you can do on the campsite. And you would never think about that with Disney. And we haven't even talked about the resorts and the golf and putt-putt and all those things, and we can do that on another episode. But there's so much more to Disney than just the parks. And like you said, Lee, you can resort hop, and that's almost like an event and a time in itself.
And
So
I do
it's really
believe
cool.
if you resort hop, guys, you will learn Disney transportation the fastest way because you will actually learn
Yep.
if I want to go to this resort, I need to hop on this bus to maybe go to Hollywood Studios so
Yep.
that way I can kind of get to Grand
Yep.
Central Station or whatever. So it's the best way to kind of figure out not only the park situation when it comes to transportation, but you'll learn which resort you want to stay at. Because for me, I love Coronado. We stay at All Stars. I spend my most time at Riverside because the fishing,
Yep.
the bicycle rentals, like we love to rent out the bikes, and so you could do all
Oh,
that stuff
fun.
there. And it's a little key thing when it comes to fishing, guys. Go do it at Disney. Like it is so crazy that people keep passing up fishing. It is the funnest thing to do at Disney.
That is so fun. I'm gonna have to do that the next time I go with my family. And
Yeah.
and the other thing too that people don't realize is that you can eat dinner or meals, sorry, meals in general. You can eat at different resorts. You don't have to be staying at so the last time I was there in November, we were staying at Animal Kingdom, but we went to dinner at Riviera and we got to see the fireworks and stuff at Topolino's. And so it was really cool. And what we did, we exactly that. We bused to Hollywood Studios and then skylined over to the Riviera to make our dinner reservation. It was perfect. And this is amazing, Katie. So go ahead.
Isn't it beautiful? And
So pretty.
there's this whole history behind how Walt got this carriage and everything. And
Oh, it's
I
beautiful.
have been to Disney a million times, never knew this thing even existed.
That is
And I didn't
gorgeous.
know until I stayed at Fort Wilderness
Bruh,
and
I'm
walked
I'm
over
not
to
gonna
the
lie. If
Tri-Circle D.
Walt Disney was part of the Lowrider Club in California, this thing would be popping. Like, good Jesus. He's got the spoke
But
wheels
you,
and everything.
it's
Oh, it's so
a
pretty.
musical instrument. So it used to be in the Mickey Mouse Club parade.
Aw.
But you can read about it on the Disney Parks blog. But like that's
Okay.
the Tri-Circle D Ranch is kind of like one of those hidden gems that a lot of people don't realize is even at the resorts. And that's one of my favorite
Yeah.
thing about like exploring the resorts is that each resort has something. They don't all have a ranch, but they all have like something unique
Something.
that
Yep.
extracurricular that you can go do.
Yep.
And like Lee said at the beginning, you could spend all day just resort hopping.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
and it's crazy because when families are
You really
booking
can.
7 days trips, obviously they think that they're gonna spend 7 days in the parks. And I'm like, no. Word
Yeah.
of advice, take a few days to kind of actually have a vacation,
Yeah.
recover so you can actually have more fun in the parks because
Yeah.
we've been doing this for quite a long time. I think all three of us, when it comes to Disney World, Disneyland, and those other
Yeah.
things, it's not as easy as you get older. Like it does take a massive
Yeah.
toll. The weather, if you're not used to the humidity, if you're not used to whatever, it's just these are all
Yeah.
factors that people really don't think of. So we highly recommend stay on Disney property, enjoy what Disney has to offer, and you
Yes.
will not regret it.
Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And and you plug Disney properties so well because there are a lot of amazing hotels that you can stay on outside of Disney property, and that's fine too. However, there's just a piece of that Disney magic that whenever you're at the parks, you want to continue that magic, and it's at the Disney properties. And say you don't go to the park that day because you need a rest day, you're still within the Disney magic. And so you may not get that from some of the hotels outside or Airbnbs. I've got a client right now who they're a huge family and they're staying at an Airbnb, and that's okay. But they are going to be missing out on the Disney magic and then the extra little perks about staying on these resorts. So we didn't even talk about the perks, the
Yep.
extra hours and things like that.
I think we'll talk about that when we get to
Yeah.
deluxe because there's a lot of crazy
Yes.
stuff and benefits for deluxe. Even though people are like, "Oh, it's overpriced," I'm like, "Nah, just wait. You get a lot
Yes.
more." So other than that, do we hit all the moderate? Did we hit all the value?
We hit all the moderate. So let's recap real quick. Favorite value resort from each of you?
Art of Animation.
All Stars.
I'm Art of Animation too.
Yeah. But I do have clients going in February for All Stars Music, so I can't wait to hear their review of what All Stars Music has to offer.
You have a
So I'm excited
fellow
about that.
podcaster going to All Stars in 3 weeks, so you will hear everything about
I
that.
know. But you're sports, and I have not heard as much about music, so I'm really excited about All
I'm
Stars
gonna
Music.
be the guy
And
that
they're
it's on the
advanced
news
group.
that this Mexican's running around all different resorts right now. Yeah, I'll be everywhere.
Good. I can't
And
wait.
then I think both of you said Coronado for moderate. Is that still the case?
Are we
Still the
including
case.
beignets or no beignets? Like just resort itself? I'm gonna go
See,
Coronado.
I don't know.
I'm gonna go Coronado.
I don't know for me. I'm still like I'm stuck between Fort Wilderness and French Quarter.
Is
I
French
think.
Quarter because like you grew up in Georgia? Like it gives you kind of those like Georgia Southern Val. Like it's white, right?
I love how both me and Alicia are like, have you not
No.
been to Georgia? There's like
Georgia.
no Georgia has like no French
Yeah.
inspiration in it.
You would be more Riverside if you were going to go with going close to Georgia, just because it has that Southern antebellum type feel, whatever.
Yeah,
But it's
that's what I was
still like
thinking. Like that
Louisiana.
Southern.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
French
oh,
Quarter is more
wrong one.
Louisiana.
I'm thinking
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
I'm
French
thinking
okay.
Quarter is definitely
Asian.
more Louisiana. Like think of downtown Louisiana, Bourbon Street,
Yeah.
the way that those
Yeah.
buildings are. But I really liked French Quarter because it was very quaint. Like a lot of the moderate resorts are large, and French Quarter is very quaint, and it is part of Port Orleans. But I really liked how small it was, and like you could just like I walked out my room, the pool was right there, walked by the pool, and then the boat was right there. So it was
That's
like
cool.
Wait,
2
which are
minutes
the ones
away.
that are like
I
all white? Isn't that
So
That's
that's the
Riverside.
Riverside.
okay?
That's Riverside.
Riverside. Okay.
And that's still more New Orleans. So if you think about New Orleans in like the 1800s and in some of the housing during like big sugar plantations, things like that. Again, the history nerd's coming out of me. This is more of Riverside versus French Quarter is more like New Orleans type of
French Quarter.
style.
Party
Yeah,
time.
yeah, exactly.
Party time.
Yeah, yeah. But I do like how they have the boat option, which is really cool, and you don't get that with all the other moderates. So
Which takes you to
Yeah,
pretty
I
cool.
Disney
think
Springs where there's bassin.
I don't know if that one closed down too.
No, that one didn't close down. Katie, don't wreck my dreams. I'm going there to wash my hands every single time.
No,
They
I'm
have a sugar
saying
And
scrub.
I
I'm
don't
pretty
know.
sure it would be basin then because it's
Basin,
like
yeah.
a soap or a sink basin.
Basin.
Yeah.
Whatever.
But
Astronomy,
that's okay.
astrology.
We're gonna
I don't
find
know how to
out in a few
pronounce
weeks.
anything, apparently. Jesus.
But that's why we love you so much, Lee. I can't even. I mean, we love you
No,
so
y'all,
much. Are
y'all
you
can't
kidding
keep
me?
using that like as an excuse. Oh, we love the.
You're the spice of our you're just the spice of us. I love it. It makes
I
me
tell you
happy.
what I want, what I really, really want. Don't tell me what you want. Not that
He's
spice.
Yeah.
Okay.
ginger spice, apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So so I will say Coronado is my favorite because that's my go-to as far as again, I kind of like like when I leave the park, I just want to like relax and have I don't want to say bougie, but just that nice, like, this is a nice place where we have a nice room, all the things. But the Caribbean beach pulls at my heart just a little bit because my mom passed away a few years ago. But the last trip that I did with Disney, she supported me in one of the Disney runs, and we'll talk about that on another podcast. But we stayed at the Caribbean beach, so I have a lot of really great memories with my mom at Caribbean Beach. So,
Aw,
but
super
but
sweet.
Coronado is still like my favorite, but Caribbean Beach for the memories, and then it also has a Skyliner, so there's that too.
Well, I think that was a good like overall. I'm sure we'll touch back on some of these resorts later, but we don't want to overwhelm people, and we'll talk about deluxe next time and get into some of the cool deluxe resorts too. So
Deluxe stands
until
for
next time.
drinking. I hope y'all know that. I'm just like,
And if you have questions, please feel free to ask us. Like we can talk about not just these resorts, but the other ones that if say you don't want to stay on property, you don't want to spend that extra money to stay on property. I totally get it. You got to pay that money to go in the parks. Totally get it. We can talk about resorts that are the good neighbor resorts and things like that. So we can give you all of our insight. So
yeah, and when we post this up, let us know what your favorite value and moderate resorts are.
put it in the comment
so
section.
we can look that up in the comment section, and be sure to like, subscribe, and all that jazz. We're Travel on the Rocks on all the social media channels.
Woo!
See you guys.
I can't wait to talk to you guys soon.
Until
Bye.
next time, cheers.
Cheers.